Hello, OSL, and welcome back to the final day, final week of the OSL Season 3 group stage. My oh my, how the time will fly by when you are having fun. Finishing off the night, we have Synergy vs Sadness, where we'll be seeing set 1, Unknown on Ormond Lake Mine by Synergy, set 2, Blight on Gashaven by Sadness, and set 3, Billy on Blood Lodge, which will be the tie breaker. Continuing his long night on the desk with me is, yes, my partner in crime, Tavi. Tavi, what are you getting arrested for this time, good sir?
I'm getting arrested for the murder of Gohan. I was recently made aware that he was on this desk for around 1 and a bit days. All through. So casted 5 sets and then suddenly he's disappeared. And funnily enough, now I have an accomplice with me, also known as Hunter. But apart from that, I think there are no other arrests that I can be pretty much what do you call arrested for. There are no other crimes that I can be arrested for. But I think maybe Dokes wants to get on that list of criminal activity, as we do actually find him playing the unknown. We did see his unspeakable of 4K3 against Resurrection quite a bit ago, which is an amazing result. So maybe he's got something cooking here on unknown that we're all just oblivious of.
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I mean, I haven't really seen much of Dokes' gameplay other than the 4K3, like you said last week on the Kaneki set. Sorry. Nevertheless, we'll be taking this chase onto Slug very early on in the trial, getting that UVX tag and taking the M1. Now going to be able to try and run away to the main building and utilizing the stairs, but not quite hitting another UVX. And we are going to be able to dispel that by just looking at Dokes. Still got this line of sight and this long uh long pathway to work with while finding a pallet just up to the upstairs and just going to be playing around this now. This is going to spell a very early down if we can play this right. And playing it really patiently, is Slug able to greed that and just fake that he was going to throw it, dodging the UVX again, and it's extended it by a long shot, and now just getting hit through the pallet. Really unfortunate for Slug, but a very fortunate start for Dokes if you're on the side of Synergy. Now we see the double generator in the background over in the mid side of the map. I'm going to be taking this first hook on the trial, which may be a pain risk to stop that generator Tavi if he's able to make it in time, which I don't think he is.
Yeah, he isn't, and I don't think there really could have been much to be, done there, except maybe that one UVX shot, that was only a couple of seconds difference between that pain res and the gen popping. So simply just getting that UVX shot would have bought enough time to stop that generator from popping, which is of course why in comp, like, you don't want to be wasting any time. Whatever you're doing, whether it's a rotation, whether it's a reset, whether it's a generator, you have to just like be on the game like as efficient as possible, because even these small little interactions make a difference at the end of the day, because this mid-gen being done is now a really big deal. Dokes has one less generator to kick the eruption and one less generator that he can defend. So it's going to be unhook in the background. We do see a Jill player here, very rare to see in comp, just using the sprint burst fixated to do a little bit of funny stuff, but Dokes doesn't care at all, just wants to try and get the shot out of the way, continue the tunnel out onto Slug, and try and make this chase as short as possible, which could definitely be the case here, because Arcade doesn't have that much to work with. But that's a missed bounce there. That's a really unfortunate bounce there, Hunter. Just unknown, unfortunately. I guess the UVX is just a bit weird there.
But unfortunately, running into the loving embrace of Dokes. Now, it is important to note that Slug is the emergency sub and the last emergency sub of the season, as you are not allowed them in the playoffs, unfortunately. So, for those who don't know, now you do know. We're going to be taking this second hook onto Slug now, and that will spell the second stage onto him, which we're looking very close to our tunnel out being secured at this point in time. And at 4 gens left, nonetheless, we're going to be taking this eruption onto the mid side. And just to touch up on that middle generator being worked, Tavi, it's created a really big split in the generators here. There's not really a clean 3-gen to be holding at this point in time. It was really important that the survivors got that out of the way, and they did. So now Dokes kind of has to work for his gens a little bit more, I'm not going to lie. So we're going to see what he tries to pull out of the hat. He has a nice vantage point here, and he's able to find someone just working. It is the Jill working 2, which will be Posey. He will be taking chase over to this tile over at 1, but no, Dokes going to have none of it. Going to be flying eruption onto that 2 generator and going straight back to his hook to secure this tunnel out onto Slug as quickly as possible. Slug has to have the chase of his life if his teammates are to stay in this and stay having a good chance to win this. So Now he's going to be utilizing this pallet up on the top side of main. Doesn't really have a lot to work with once this is dropped, and he's going to have to play check spots, and he's going to have to try and mind game a little bit, but I think he's just going to get caught out, and this is going to be another early down, but Dokes hitting the steal a little bit there. The body block coming in from Sin, and that has just absolutely destroyed his chances of getting a really early down onto our survivor here. He's quite lost in the sauce a little bit, and unfortunately Slug was not able to buy enough distance with the time that was bought from Sin taking that taking that protection hit. He just wasn't able to just escape the killer's line of sight, and now this will be the death onto him. We do see the second generator of the trial pop in the background, so now we're going to be able to interrupt this generator more towards the mid side, mid 11, mid 10, and I think the game's going to slow down a lot from here, Tabi, considering that we do have our tunnel out at 3 gens remaining.
Yeah, 3 gens left with a tunnel out is an extremely good performance by Dokes, or you could say maybe something went wrong behind the scenes for Sadness, but I think Dokes just somehow managed to get the downs there just in due time, and just that one miss onto Kate, funnily enough, allowed a body block, but then also Kate just went down, unfortunately, losing the 50 on that filler, which I don't know if it's a 50, I don't know this map too well, but anyway, he's gonna be able to get the tunnel out and transition some of the pressure back onto the survivors. That's how Chris Less, who's also known as Demo, taking the UVX tag and the injury for just a little bit of progress on the gen, and Dokes has already rotated back away to this main building, trying to chase our Spinburst survivor off, and it's a pretty good chase to take again. There's like not really that much coverage for a survivor to go for, and that's a beautiful bounce by Dokes. You know, bouncing it off the pallet and then making it explode onto a little bit of barrel there. And he might actually get a little bit of tippity tap here. Goes for the showy play, but unfortunately, Jul is very aware of the Unknown's capabilities. As the gen pops in the background, again, beautiful Jiggy coming out from Posey, and if the tier list is coming out, sorry, then we'd definitely be seeing a couple of extra points going in for Posey. But that's finally the tag coming through, but that's a lot of time for us survivors to get generated stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
They might be able to recover from this early death here, Hunter.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I thought you cut out there. I was mistaken. Nevertheless, we'll be taking the chase back onto Posey. And just actually, no, deciding to teleport a little bit away. We're going to be playing for these tags very 3v1 like, if you will, at 2 gens remaining. Pre-dropping this filler pallet is Less, who's going to be running all the way down to Shaq, and I dare say he's not going to be throwing that Shaq pallet. He's going to be getting M1 through that and now making enough distance to go all the way down to the 2-1 side. We do have all the generators on the other side of the map, and we do spot out our Jill there, which is Posey. He's just kind of stealthing around this 3-tar, but we're not going to want to have any of him. We're going to opt to go for Less, who is... we still have 4 stacks of pain res left. I didn't actually realize that, unless that is a spectator bug, and we're going to be having these this eruption proc onto those generators in the background, and if we can get a nice quick pain res onto Less here, that's going to spell trouble for our survivors at the moment, not being able to get this gen done. We see the heal up in main as well, thanks to the aura reading, and I don't think we're going to be able to really do anything about it. We're going to know that that's happening. We're going to know that the killer is looking a little bit closer. If on the side of the survivors, we're going to be trying to split up and see if we can look for clues. No lol jokes. We're just going to try and get this instant unhook onto our tunnel out here, which is Less, but we're going to have none of it. We're going to continue on the chase onto Sin, who will be running all the way down to the mid side, pre-dropping this filler pallet. Doesn't really have a lot to work with here. This is going to spell another tag for our survivors, unfortunately. So the heal is all in vain. Well, not necessarily, but it's all undone, unfortunately. And now in the background, you could just hope that his teammates are just slamming out the generators. Just a really unfortunate teleport. Read by that is Sin. Sorry. He did read that. Oh, the pallet's gone. I'm smashed. Sorry, I thought that was still up, but nevertheless, we're going to be taking this. I believe this is the first hook onto Sin, if I'm not mistaken, Tavi. What do you think's going to be happening here in this next segment of the game now that, you know, we still have all our pain resist left and there's a lot of hooks to work with? Do you think a 4K1 outs? What are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling 4K1 here, Hunter. I've got my not Spidey senses. I got whatever unknown. Okay, I mean I don't know say that, but I got my senses going and telling me that it's a 4K1 territory here. Dokes just seems like he has enough pressure. He also has an active veteran fate, by the way, so that is a really big deal for survivors. They pretty much have to cleanse it, otherwise our obsession here, Chris, is just like literally like not 50%, 60% slow on generators, which is like a really huge deal. Anyway, without getting into too much math here, which I know some people might accuse me of being a bit of a nerd there. It's essentially I'm saying it's looking like 4K territory. It still has an active pain resonance left on Veteran Fate Survivor, so can pretty much take that whenever he wants. Can Dokes, but still has a good generator force around the main building. He's got this main gen here. He's got this Shallow 9 as well. I think it's Shallow 9. I've kind of lost myself. Or Shallow 7. Wherever it is, it's still fairly holdable for the Unknown in the 3v1. But we see our Survivor actually go all the way down into the underground area of the basement. The Ormond Lake mine, I mean. So, yeah, I personally don't know how Survivors are going to be utilizing that, but if you were to like compare this map to like Coal Tower and then say that you've got this gen split and it's currently a 2 gens left, I think most players would tell you it's 4K1. But that underground little area there might make things a little bit different for Survivors.
It is a very large map, and anything can happen. As we see the pre-drop from Sin, we're going to be missing that M1 is Dokes. Now utilizing the light around this 3 pallet here, and we're going to be doing a little bit of jigging, winning the 50s as well. Going to be, unfortunately, getting tagged there and running all the way down to the 1 side. Now, keep in mind that even though the gens are still a little bit far spread out, Harvey is like, he's utilizing his teleports very well and very effectively. But nevertheless, we still have to get this quick down onto Sin if we are to do anything at the moment. Now, he can't really do anything around this filler pallet here. He just goes down once it's dropped, unfortunately. He was just buying enough time to last a little bit longer in his chase. We're going to see if there's any survivors in the background just slamming out the generators. Hopefully, we can get some progress on the board at least, or a gen pop maybe. Unfortunately, well, I don't think that's going to be happening, as you do see the 4-piston gen over at that mid-9, mid-10, wherever that generator is, like you said, Tavi. It's almost not being able to be kicked anymore, unfortunately, for our killer here. But nevertheless, we're going to be taking chase onto Les, who will be utilizing this pallet here over at the, I do believe this is the 8 side of the map now. Kind of a weird, odd-shaped looking tile. There is a lot of weird layouts in this map, I will say that. So we're going to continue on the chase, and there's just a lot of filler pallets in this map. I've come to realize with it being so big, is this a lot of unsafe ones. There's just a lot of like random ones. It really pays off to know what can really spawn, and we have this nice double pallet here, but we're going to be greeting that very nicely and going to be making that vault scot-free. Is Les, and unfortunately vaulting into Loving Brace of Dokes once again. He's going to be taking that tag and running all the way down to the 7 corner, where I dare say he's going to be going down very shortly, maybe within the next 15 seconds if he can last a little bit longer for his chase. Lol jokes, I am joking. It's going to be something along the lines of the 10-second mark, but yeah, we're just going to opt to go for this pallet here. But we're playing this really nicely, so maybe we'll hit the 15 seconds and we'll go down over at the shack. I'm not too sure how long that was, but I'm going to be picking up Les now in the next generator procs in the trial in the background, which will facilitate the thought that there is going to be a 4K1 happening here, Tavu.
Yeah, now I'm a little bit less convinced that it's 4K1. Actually, that beautiful chase coming in from Les and also from Sin kind of allows this final generator to pop. And I believe Posey is our final flesh. I was mistaken from before, so you can see Les there took the pain resonance before, and that just, the lack of the pain res there was a really big deal, because now that gen is gone and completed as of now, and Dokes has to settle for a 10-stage result, I believe, because Nancy's been hooked already. So hooked twice already. So I think 10 stages is fairly alright performance from Dokes. Maybe he's looking for more with that kill with 3 generators remaining, but it's still, again, very solid, as pretty much like a lot of our unknown sets for this season have been 4K Hunter, and that's a really, really interesting statistic. Knowing how large this map is, you would assume that Unknown would struggle a little bit holding the generators, but somehow, it's I think just a lot of 4Ks, and Survivors have managed to escape that, which is really good, considering that it is not their pick of the Unknown. Regardless of that, we'll have to see what.
And welcome back, everyone, to the second game of the first set of the last series of the group stage. Now we'll be seeing Synergy on the Survivor set and Sadness on the Killer, which will be Posey. For the Survivor team, we have Jams, Halo, Burrito, and Hazard Tavi. If I had to pick a team that's going to meet the 9-stage win con that we have for the Survivors, it is these boys. But nevertheless, it's still going to be very hard. Posey still, if he gets any type of 4K, he wins. So, it's going to be pretty interesting. What do you predict's going to happen here? I'd love to hear it.
I, sorry, I'm not going to give any of my predictions so far. I don't have, I have insufficient information, so I'm gonna be pretty rock solid in terms of my like 100% prediction whether Posey can get 9 stage 4 fresh. I was gonna say 10 stage 3 fresh, but of course the math doesn't add up. So um, I'm not entirely sure again what Posey's unknown looks like. I think he has played unknown once. I don't entirely recall, but he's definitely played killer at least once. And again, I don't really entirely recall which set that was, so it's again a bit of a mishap on my part. But he's finding someone fairly quickly on this edge map, so it could be off to a very, very good start here as he just takes an M1 onto our Ada Hazard, a returning name, I think, from a couple of seasons. He's kind of back active and taking this first chase in a fairly suboptimal place. This is outside of the corrupt intervention, and you kind of want to be dying inside the corrupt, against any killer. But he's actually jigging quite well. He avoided that UVX, so he could still be off to a nice first chase here. But he gets tapped, and that is going to be a very, very good start from Posey. I don't think this gen pops in time, and that's going to be a very decisive factor in this trial, I think, Hunter.
Yeah, definitely. It was such an early down, just really unfortunate for us survivors here. Very fortunate for Posey to be able to place that teleportation accordingly, just from the corner there to catch out Hazard. I don't think he was quite expecting it. Regardless, saying that he's going to be hooked. No pain red. So in the middle of the map, so a nice little patrol spot for our killer here, and we're going to be taking the kick to the only generator that was being worked currently in this trial, which is bad news bears for our survivors at the moment. Maybe if we can get a quick switch around, we can see what the game plan is here, because I just do imagine that Posey will be trying to protect this hook. We see Halo just stealthing over it too. We see Hazard on the hook still. We have Jarms just working that one generator, and just the last survivor, Darren, who is Burrito, just stealthing around for that pool and just setting up accordingly. So what's going to happen here? We're going to catch out Halo just trying to dispel one of the teleportations that was placed a little bit earlier on, unfortunately getting tagged, and now trying to dodge the UVX around the shack, playing that nicely and running all the way down. But that is an unnecessary tag from our survivor there, and a very unfortunate one at that. Probably would have served him a little bit better to be working a generator, but we're going to be taking that quick tag back onto Hazard, who is our tunneler. If we decide to opt to go for them and not any freshers, we're going to be utilizing our UVX, but unfortunately not quite getting it, as Hazard has just ran back into the unknown's balls and now pre-dropping the ballot and trying to make as much distance as he possibly humanly can, and just having to work around this godforsaken filler pallet. Burrito coming in for the body blocker. We're going to be able to get the stun. Is Hazard, who's going to be running all the way back down to mid 6, all the way down to 7 now, and this has extended our chase by a long amount, Tavi. I dare say we're going to be looking at maybe a couple gens pop here if we can manage to get this body block and last a little bit longer in chase.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know how Posey managed to swing and miss 2 survivors there on the pallet, but I guess he got stunned just in time for Hazard to get away. But Hazard, I don't think, makes this other pallet. No, it's going to be very close, but he does make the pallet. Safe pre-drop coming in. Of course, he gets M1 now, so maybe it wasn't as safe a pre-drop than I was thinking. But he gets got out of locker, and that's 2 gens popping in the background. So our survivors are, despite that earlier first down and despite that heal coming in, they are like ahead of the previous trial Sadness of survivors, which I believe only had like 1 generator done in this pretty similar position here as Hazard does get onto the second hook. I guess they do have to try and rotate away from this 3 side and try and make a move for this gen split, because again, I think one of the other like really important factors for unknown trial is the hook location. Like this hook location is sort of central, so you can see Posey can like defend these 2 generators, actually 3 generators around this area just by holding up the UVX, and takes a few pot shots, forcing Halo away a bit. But I just hope that the other 2 survivors are splitting gens, because I feel like they should just be trying to apply as much pressure as they can, and maybe just go in for a last minute unhook, because that's why Halo's there, right? That's why Halo's playing aggressive, potentially. But again, it's still definitely not a free win for survivors, because yeah, 10 stages still sort of difficult when your tunnel out is potentially even going to die at 2 gens. 3 gens remaining, I mean. I'm not entirely sure if they can get all the gens done, yet alone get 10 stages 3 fresh, or 9 stages 4 fresh, whatever. But sorry, my math there. Down's here for the trade, the real one. Gets the unhook and trade going on, and Hazard has to really make this chase count, because the gens are being popped on in the distance. That's 2 done for this chase for sure. But I'm not entirely sure if they can go for this 9 stages.
Oh, it's still doable. I mean, especially if Hazard can have a chase, but like unfortunately, just having nothing to work with, we did let the bro cook for a little bit, and it did allow us to get some gen pressure in the background as we now take the pick onto Hazard here, who will be our tunnel out now. It's going to be very hard from here on out. The 3v1 happening at 2 generators remaining, very, very close to being the exact same from last game. Halo just going to push that generator as well. Okay, now we're cooking a little bit. I think if we can manage. Oh, okay, no, I say that. And Caster's Curse, we managed to spot out Darren, who's just being happening to do a little bit of a crossover. Halo is injured at the moment. Jump's our only healthy survivor, playing very stealth-like at this behind these little boxes there. Now hooking really deep into this 10 side of the map, this silo, if you will. The generator split not looking very forgiving for our survivor side. Unfortunately, we do have 8 silo and main to be worked. That is a very tight 3-gen on this map being so big. Nevertheless, we'll be taking chase back onto Halo, who's going to use this filler pallet outside the top of main, pre-dropping it, and now just going down. Unfortunately, not quite being able to play accordingly, and now we're going to be going back to our hook here, and I dare say this is looking like 4K1 territory, especially if we can down Darren here in the process, who will be going all the way back to the bottom of the entire map, now utilizing this one and only filler pallet. Doesn't have a lot to work with. Once this is dropped, I dare say he'll be just going down. So he has to kind of greet it. He's all he's doing here is he is playing for time. I don't think he's going to be making this out alive. He does manage to make it up the stairs, but he'll be just going down just as quick.
Oh.
And no, Posey just absolutely missing that and is able to make this pallet. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm mistaken. He's able to make entirely away from this chase at this point, but yeah, I just don't really see. He doesn't really have anywhere to go at the moment. He's just wait. Have we lost it? No, we have. Okay, we do hear him a little bit, and he is all the way at the back side of the map. But this chase has gone on for a lot longer than it was supposed to. I can't lie. Now we see Halo healed in the background as well. We have 2 healthy survivors. Very well played out by Burrito to be able to do a little bit of jiggy around these pallets here. And now we see the double onto main as well. That's absolutely crazy work from our survivor team here, Tavi.
But that's crazy how much time Darren slash Burrito did manage to buy there just in the bot side. Kind of as well, it's a bit of an underrated death spot as well. Kind of forces your killer to hook in a specific area thanks to like the unique kind of like dead zone that it provides. You know, you can only escape or you can only like carry the survivor out those 2 staircases, and one of them is all the way on the top side. But you did find jumps here. What the hell are you doing, man? He's probably going to take a UVX tag, and this might be 2-tap territory. On the main building in the 3-gen. So that is after Darren's beautiful chase there, might have just been completely given away with Jams' 2-tap there on the main building, and Posey's actually not taking it. Tries to catch out Halo there, but Halo kind of had a little bit of enough distance to scare Posey away and go back to this main building. So I again like following that beautiful chase from Darren, which by the way, I don't know how he won that many 50-50s. I guess he's got like a coin flip simulator on his mobile app, and he plays that every day. But I don't know. I guess now the high progress gen is going to get regressed because the hook is nearby, and it's also going to be pain resonance. So that's going to hit the main gen 2 and start the loop all over again of, you know, hook a new survivor, gen goes to 0. And yeah, I feel like our survivors still need a very, very good run in order to pull this back to a 9 stage. Oh my gosh, I keep on forgetting that 10-3 doesn't exist on top.
Yeah, voice crack. Definitely, unfortunately. We don't talk about the voice crack. That's wild. Anyway,
Yeah, I'm not getting fired, okay?
No, yeah, we will be seeing the hook onto jumps as well. Now, just the patrolling of generators, like you said, is going to be very hard for our survivors to pull this back. Now, looking at a 6-stage 3 fresh at the moment, and the win con for us is 9 stages 4 fresh. You can't really have any other score in terms of fresh hooks when you're looking at a 9 stage, but nevertheless, we take a chase onto, I do believe this is Halo here, who will be slapping this pallet down. Maybe no, playing it a little bit safe and winning that as well. That is absolutely crazy work. Well done by Halo, not being able to extend that chase there and not give away a free tag. But Posey's going to be doing a little bit of mind games, a bit of in and out, like leaving, haha, jokes, I'm back. But nevertheless, we'll be just trying to patrol this hook onto Jarms here, make sure he hits second stage. Halo has to play for this. You really have to get Jarms off of here before he does hit second. I dare say that's just going to result in a trade by Halo. We do see that Burrito is dispelling one of the teleportations there in the bottom main. If we can just get a quick switch back to where the action is, that would be extremely lovely. We do see that Jarms has hit second, unfortunately. Nevertheless, we'll be taking chase back onto Burrito now around this main side. Now that is 7 stages, or that should be 7 stages at the moment, unfortunately for us survivors. Now taking this tag onto onto Burrito here. I was going to call... I don't want to call him Darren. I feel like I have to call him Burrito. He's just going to be pre-dropping 2 now. I'm now just playing around this tile. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. But do we just commit that generator over the far side of the map, Tavi? Maybe not main. It's just, yeah, it's going to be that 8 tile. I don't think we can really go for main, it being so close to where the chase is happening, but the eruptioning happen as well as we down Burrito. And I think... Oh, no, it should be Halo. That's our last pain rest stack, right?
I've not been counting myself, but I mean, the gen doesn't get done in any case as this hook comes in. That's not pain resonance. Good for our survivors. Down is dead though, which does mean that going for this win con will be much harder than this 2v1. Of course, it's still like possible. Like there's like realms of possibility where they get this gen done, because they did have a bit of progress on main, so they could double split here. Jarms maybe play safe, play stealth. Whatever the case is, Posey is going to secure, I believe, the 8th stage of the trial. So our survivors like can't really afford to give away that much else. And yeah, they're playing really safe. They know that they can't be showing themselves. Of course, they can't be playing aggro. And Posey's gonna completely walk by Halo. The comp style, no, he actually does find Halo, and that honestly might be enough to end this trial here, because. Now we found one of them, they're going down, you can either hook them or slug them, and Jarms is the only one left, he can't get another gen done. Halo gets hit through the pallet, and that kind of spells GG. Jarms shows himself as well. So we're going to see the final chase here. Maybe Mr. Community Manager can show us how it's done against the unknown, as he does get a little bit zoned here on Shaq. He has to play the check spots, alright. Can he get the shift tech here? I'm not entirely sure, but maybe he's been on the 1v1 Hunter, and I've not been completely aware of it.
Yeah, maybe. Or, well, I do say this is looking like 4K1 territory, unfortunately, for our Survivor team here, but very well played by Posey and played by Sadness in this regard. So we'll be seeing the down onto Jarms now, and that will spell the end of him. That will spell the end of Halo. A very close game, if you will, still nonetheless. They played it out to the absolute wire. Yeah, just Burrito, just the MVP of this match, realistically, just being able to delay that chase for so long, that tag, that down for so long. I do believe that was more so a fault of Posey, but I'm not going to take away from Burrito that he played that absolutely just great. So now as we take this hook back onto Halo and we see the end of this set, we will be moving on to the Blight set, which will be really shortly. Once we get that set up for you, it will be Sadness's Killer and the Survivors of Synergy once more. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after a quick and short break. And welcome back, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Behavior servers, as we know and love them, decide to fail us today, unfortunately. So it will be a restart with no penalty to either team. It's a no-fault restart. Our survivors and Killer are able to change builds if they want. Therefore, we are going to be loading into this game now. We have it up and ready for you guys. On the Killer side, it will be Sin once more for the side of Sadness. On the Survivor side, it will be Burrito, Halo, Jarms, and Hazla like before. Hopefully, we can see a very strong early game like we did from our survivors here. Unfortunately, just it was all in vain due to the server crash. Halo was able to have an outstanding chase, all things considered, with the Killer faults at that point in time. But nevertheless, we will be loading in now. We'll be seeing Hazard spawn all the way at the bottom side of the map. And if we can just get a quick rotation rotation to our Achilles, we could automatically assume they will be rushing all the way down there from the top side, and now just opting to go all the way down to this 5 and not being able to spot any stealth out survivors here. So still a very strong start, all things considered. We do see the scratch marks here, and it is over at one of the strongest loops in the map, which is Shaq. Now taking chase back onto Halo. Halo's going to have a long chase like he did last game if he really wants anything out of this. Now pre-dropping the Shaq pallet, able to make so much distance. Does he go to 5? Does he go to mid? Where does Halo go? He's opted to go more towards the 5 side where the corrupted zone is still is applied, and now Sin just going to be trying to use a little bit of bump logic to get some line of sight onto Halo, but Halo is breaking away cleanly, and we have completely lost him. He has thrown this pallet over towards the car trash pile, over towards more of this mid-6 side, and now just running around 5s, ha tile, as we love to call it, pre-dropping this pallet and now vaulting the window, and he's able to delay this tag for so long. Tavi, I dare say we're in for a long one here, maybe even a better one than last game.
Yeah, I mean, Halo's completely safe here. I do not like you saying hee ha because you don't play Clash Royale. You don't have the right to say that in front of me. Okay, joke aside though. Sin's just gonna drop the chase. Halo, I guess, was too strong on that little bit of filler and 5 side, and just I'm kind of curious because yeah, that chase in the previous game was definitely much shorter, but it was kind of all concentrated on the same side of the map, like all that 3 side was where the chase was. But now Sin is playing on this top side and has kind of cut off this double on the mid gen. So I guess we might be able to see a bit less pressure from our survivors in some sense. But Sin is not able to get the Z flick there. Unfortunately, could not replicate Sen's clip there on the main building, and Jum's gonna be able to buy a little bit more time. He actually swings through the power of the Sin, gets the down as well. But I'm not sure if the gem pops in time because, again, Blight's just been maneuvering around and kind of forcing the chases into a bit different parts of the map. So, yeah, we do see Burrito take the tag. Unfortunately, the gem just couldn't pop. So, yeah, I guess this first hook is going to result in a bit of progression loss. But no, okay, a gem does pop in the background. I guess Halo and Hazard were doubling in the background. So, yeah, Halo does cleanse Ruin on the 3-lane tile. I'm not going to call it a HeHe tile. I'm sorry, Gohan. I really cannot call it a HeHe tile. But we're going to see Ruin get cleansed, and our survivor's still looking in a fairly good position.
Yeah, definitely. And now with Jarms on the hook and just going back on Gen Patrol now, making sure that I dare say we're going to be getting this tunnel onto him as quickly as possible. We do see the totem over in the background being broken as well. That was the Wretched Fate, I do believe. Now just opting to kind of camp out our survivor on the hook here and make sure that he hits second. We do see Darren setting up for the pull. We see Halo over at 5 cranking the motors. Yes, I will call this the hee ha ha tile. Thank you very much, Tavi. Now we also have the 3 generator being worked by, I do believe that is Hazard on the Nancy, and now just we're at a little bit of a stalemate here. We're just pretty much waiting for the pull to come through, letting Jarms cook on hook, as he likes to say, and now Burrito coming in hot for that save. Is he the Delhi player? Unfortunately, hitting Jarms on the hook is Sin, and now we're going to be able to make this trade. Unfortunately, not being able to get a spot where we could unhook Jarms scot-free. Very unfortunate for Burrito. Now we're going to opt to take the chase back onto Jarms, who will be running all the way down to the middle of the map, pre-dropping this filler pallet. Now, where does he go after this? At the bottom side, there was a few resources that were utilized really early on in the trial. Now, he doesn't really have a lot to work with. Odessa is just going to be going down here. He had to play mid for his life. He didn't want to run into any active over on the left side of the map to where he was looping, and he didn't want to take chase to where there was absolutely no pallets. He just had to use the best of what he had at that point in time, and we just weren't able to really pop those generators in time for that weren't able to pop those generators throughout that chase. We managed to get one, we didn't manage to get the second. So taking the second hook back onto Jarms now. So all things considered, it's not the worst thing in the world. We do have 2 stages on the board, I do believe, at this point, and 2 gens gone. So it is still in our survivor's hand at the moment. This game is still in the survivor's grasp, if you will. So now Sin just going to opt to try and camp Jarms out, I do believe. So again, very stalemate, very slow, like very defensive like play. I think all they have to do here from now on out, Tavi, is just slam out these Pistons as quickly as possible. And maybe, I don't even think, are they letting Jarms die or are they setting up for him again? So we do see the third generator in the background proc as well. And we managed to get the unhook. So we're definitely looking like outs here. I do say if Jarms is able to have the absolute chase of his life right now, and we do have a body coming in as well from, I do believe that was the unhooky who was Hazard, and now just going down, unfortunately, at this filler pallet. Like we said, in the middle of main, once this pallet is down, you're pretty much just dead.
Well, I guess the Hazard was there to just provide a little bit of moral support for Jarms, but it's not going to be enough. He goes down anyway, and this kill's happening at 2 generators, which I think is like kind of on track to 4K Hunter. Even though like our survivors managed to stall out the Blight really nicely at the start. Halo's beautiful little chase there on the bot side, and Jarms ult as well, being able to play fairly well around the main building, and also like the missed swing onto Darren for that first unhook. Like I would say that survivors again have done well, but I'm not entirely sure if it gives them the free reign to go for like outs kind of aggressive gameplay. As we do see Halo here at Shaq getting a little bit caught out, but we are kind of chasing him back in this area, so it could be a little bit of deja vu on this little 4-lane tile. I will take that statement, not call it that tile, but yeah, he's kind of back here and kind of boosting up. Yeah, Sin kind of missing out quite a bit on the blight sets we've seen in the previous and the current trial, and he's kind of just losing again, just like bits and bits of time here and there, and I think it's just like potentially, yeah, enough time for us to get the gens done. Halo grabs the stun here on this 2 filler, and Sin's opting to break it. So now Halo still gets this jungle gym for free. Oh my god, it's a jungle gym too. So he's in complete safe area of the map here, and that's a generator popping in the background, of course, for this. And look at this death spot as well from Halo. You know, he's all the way on this top side. Of course, there's still a gen set up here, but he's on the complete opposite corner of this. So surely he should be done top side, right? But he goes to the Jiggy, and he does die a little bit further out of this corner than I expected. So maybe Sin can drag this a little bit further, but no, he actually decides to just get a quick hook and try and interrupt a generator here on his top side instead with the pop. And I guess, as I was saying before, I don't think this gen will be entirely like completely finished. Whichever one was being progressed, whether it's this 11 gen or it's that 10 gen, but it's still going to have quite a lot of progress. We've had around 2 survivors, I think, been working with gens for quite a while, and Halo's going to get on top in the distance. So pretty much a lot of the pressure can be reset with this, because our Blight is, of course, really, really far away from this. So you can still definitely look for playing for outs, but I feel like our survivors do need to play this very, very carefully and still fairly, fairly precisely, because they've kind of run out of resources as well on this top side. And we can see here, Down's going to get caught out with Overcome. Tries to make it towards Shaq, but I believe Shaq Power's gone, right? So there's still not really that much safety around here.
Yeah, just before, young Halo doing absolute bits for his team. Now, what does that mean for the rest of our survivors? We still have to last for this last generator to proc in the trial. Now, Darren, aka Burrito, gonna be utilizing the Shack to the best of his abilities, no pallet, but not being able to get that down is Sin. Burrito making that vault. That is absolutely crazy work, and able to vault back into the Shack as well. He knows he doesn't have a lot to work with. He's gonna have to opt to die more towards the edge map now, running all the way down, and going down is a young Burrito, just managing to get enough time to maybe get some generator progress. I'm just not too sure if these guys really have any generated, like if there's one generator really close to popping, and it is. I did anticipate that just by my own initial thought that maybe there was a generator ready to proc, and there was. And now we're going to be taking this chase onto Hazard with Darren in the background, or slugged on the floor over more towards the Shack. It just poses the question is, what does Halo do here? Does he go for the gate or does he go for the pickup? I would just assume that he would go for like the quick pickup and then the gate, I guess, and that is exactly what we see happen. Hazard being able to utilize this main building absolutely perfectly right now, and Sin just having a real, just a little bit of a struggle to get Hazard down, and now just going to be slugging him behind the main building. And we see the 2-man split from Darren and Halo, and we're going to be seeing Sin opt to go more towards the edge map 6, where I do believe that was that old mate Burrito just stealthing around, and it is. He's going to be utilizing all these rocks and the Bridgestone tires to try and jiggy around the bump logic of Sin here, and just going down, unfortunately. Now I hope that Halo has a door prepped. In all honesty, I just don't think he should really be pushing for this pickup onto the survivors because it's going to be rinse and repeat, unfortunately. And yes, he is smart enough to know that we just need to be getting outs. And what's happening here? He is so lucky he didn't vault that window because if he did, it was really bad. Bad. Okay. I'm flabbergasted by the fact that he even tried to do that dead hard just there. I do believe that was a dead hard, but my god, that was very close from our survivors there. That made me panic a little bit, Tavi.
Yeah, I really did, and really lucky for Halo there. The side effect of not hitting dead hard is actually getting just put on the ground as if you point tech. So he did not get backflipped or like front flipped, meaning that he did get out of the door fairly safely. But yeah, we do find Hazard getting picked up here, and that's going to secure at least 7 stages. Darren, of course, picked themselves up, so it could be 10 stages. But then there's also that question about the first hook penalty because Darren has called quite a far distance here on this bot side, and with the tenacity, you know, the survivors are really speedy. Instead of moving at like a 25 or like 15% of the original speed, suddenly they're like speeding around, trying to just call out any way they can. And Sin's kind of lost. Yeah, he's kind of lost down here. Can't really rely on the audio because of course Darren has 50% or like 75% quieter noises, and maybe Dan's actually out of the gate now. Since a little bit worried about that, he's rushing towards the gate. He's not wanting Darren to try and get out this door, but I don't know if he is, because he could also be waiting at hatch, because Hazard is going to die on the hook in just around 70 seconds. So there's a possibility for Darren on the floor to be making a play here for 7 stages, which I think is insane, honestly, because you would have just thought that he was dead like ages and ages ago once he got slugged on the ground at the 6th side. But then Halo gets out the door. Suddenly Hazard is impending, like his death is impending, and we don't know where Darren is. That tenacity is getting so much value here, and that honestly might be a really crucial turning point here for Synergy, because 7 stages versus like 10 stages, that is a huge difference going into going into the killer side, because that was just like the small difference between, I believe, like week 2 Requiem and Bans. And Requiem actually managed to get upset there, where Bans took like a 7-stage versus 9-stage. So imagine if Requiem did get like 10 stages, for example, and you applied to this situation. That would have actually been the victory over the Blight. So yeah, those 3 stages really might make a difference. But Darren is... Oh,
He's out! He's
That's what I'm
out!
talking about. Oh my god.
Oh, that's insane. I was about to say he is fresh as well. That's crazy. That's 5 stages out the door. That is a 7-stage, 3 fresh game. My god. You didn't expect it, to be honest. I just thought he was going to go to the bleed out timer and get the fresh bleed out, but no, that's absolutely crazy. We've absolutely fumbled the bag on the side of Sin. This is completely doable for our killer here, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what Jarms puts up for us. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. This will go down to the absolute wire. We'll be right back after a quick and short intermission.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second half of the Blight set, where we just saw in the previous round, we saw Sin get 7-stage. The clutch factor of Burrito, the tenacity on the deliverance, allowed him to crawl out of the door. Believe it or not, I got some first-hand witness of this. He told me when I joined his VC, he told me he crawled all the way up mid-map, crawled towards main like a maniac. Sin rushed past him, completely oblivious of the location of Darren slash Burrito, and he just went and looped back around to the gate from main building. So that's 7 stages now that Jarms has to play for. 7 stages, 4 fresh, which is a very doable win condition on the side of Synergy. So yeah, things definitely looking up for them in this second set, and I really can't wait to see how Jarms plays it out, because I have not seen Jarms play. Play the Blight really that much, and previously we saw Snags play for Synergy, but now he's of course not playing. So yeah, Jarms, I want to see how you cook on this set. But Hunter, I think you probably have more experience than me when it comes to Jarms. So has Jarms like actually played like Blight before in a lot of games?
And he definitely has. I mean, he's only really picked up playing the killers this season, as you know, Synergy were in need of killer players once Snags had left with his main killers, so Blight being one of them. Jarms definitely being well knowledgeable on the Blight. I am able to have the absolute pleasure of watching him scrim other teams, and as we say that, he's going to be hitting Slug through a pallet, and that's a very early down. And as you can see, yes, on the mechanics, on the macro, very good on both sides is Jarms. So Upon that really early tag and really early down, we do not have a lot of gen pressure, unfortunately. And as we go into a little bit of a spectator bug, we'll have yet to see where Jarms will go from this hook. We do see Ato just stealthing up for that save. I do believe Jarms has opted to take a chase more towards the main side. And yes, he is kind of guarding this hook. Now, he knows there's no real reason to be leaving. At worst comes to worst, they're triple splitting and he loses 3 generators, but I just don't really see that happening with Light's pressure to be able to speed across the map and go to each and every individual generator and just push survivors off really fast. I just really don't see a world where a triple split will aid the survivors in this regard. Nevertheless, we'll be taking a quick tag onto Les, who will be vaulting this window outside of the main and trying to make as much distance as he can. He's not going to get too far, unfortunately, going to go down to this car pallet, and this jump's going to continue on to go on for the tunnel out. No, he's going to opt to go for another fresh hook. So with all things considered, this is actually a really smart move from him. Okay, we've resetted the board a little bit now with I do believe that. Yes, that is less on the hook. So we are 2 stages, 2 fresh at the moment. Our win con is 8 stages. 8 stages, 4 fresh. I don't think you can get 8 stages, 3 fresh, unless my math is absolutely crazy when it comes to those things. Like you said, Tavi, nevertheless, are going to be taking the chase back onto our tunnel out here, who will be running all the way down to the bottom side of the map and pre-dropping this fella pallet in the process, be able to make Shack. We do see the first generator of the trial proc in the background over at the 10 side, so it's really good news for our survivors at the moment. Pre-dropping this pallet, he's just going to try and make as much distance as he can all the way down to the 5 side of the map, and if Jarms can capitalize on this, we can get another quick stage on the board, which would be really lovely in the repertoire of our killer. So we're just pre-dropping this pallet, this filler pallet as well. Some really good RNG here. God window coming in as well. We're really struggling to get this down, unfortunately. Struggling to get this quick down, rather. We do still have the ability to down less, and we do. He is not able to make the window. He was trying to do a little bit of jiggy around the generator. Unfortunately, not working out in his favor. We're going to be taking that pick onto Les now. Going to be hooking him right smack bang in the middle of the bottom side of the map. So now we do have 1 being worked on. In all honesty, this is looking pretty rough for our survivors here, Tavi. I think Jarms is definitely showing us what he's capable of for sure. He's playing really good for what it's worth, and the pre-drop on that pallet is Slug. Unfortunately, that's not going to really do much. It is kind of a wasted resource. We do manage to find the 1 and only generator being worked on, and that will be pop and eruption applied to it, so it'll be going down. And now we're going to go back to this unhook, and we're going to continue out to what maybe be the tunnel out, Tavi.
What may be is indeed the case. It is the tunnel out. In fact, Les is the one who has, I believe, absolutely no anti-tunnel equipped on their build. So they're going to be going down. No DH, no DS. That was on Slug. No little stupid shenanigans going on there with Babysitter or anything. So that's that kill coming in. Really similar to the previous trial at just around 3 generators remaining. And considering the fact that it was, again, like similar to the previous trial, you could say that, yeah, the survivors can definitely play for 7 stages, right? That's just what we saw. But then at the same time, Jarms should know the win condition and just should know that all that he needs is another 3 stages and 2 freshes to finish off this Blight trial to even it out. And that's indeed going to be what Jarms is playing for, because he's just really not caring about who he chases. Just tries to find anyone, and like the fact that he decided to drop Slug was, I think, fairly smart. But then, you know, I guessed that Les did not have like a DS D8 build somehow and gets the tunnel out there. But actually, we don't even see a generator pop for this. I was gonna say tunnel out 3 gens, right? That's what I said before. But yeah, apparently no one is completing the second generator of the trial. So we do just instead find Ayato here around the main building. Jarms gets a little bit lost though, and he just has to play out this chase, I think, just for the freshers. And if fresh is what he will get, Ayato is fresh, and they're actually playing this tower really well, just navigating and winding their way through the main building. Something, honestly, I can't do that well, but Jarms is now kind of forcing 50-50s and gets the tag onto Ayato. So our survivors pretty much need to get 4 gens done, which seems really unreasonable, especially the fact Ayato's dying in the top side. But at least they're actually making a good amount of distance. That was a really nice vault coming out. So they still have some good chances on the survivor side. It's just fairly unlikely, is what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. And as we see another chase being taken on to Ato, who'll be pre-dropping this pallet over in the mid side of the map just outside of main. He is injured, so he's going to be going down maybe quite quickly if we can manage to get this last hit onto him, but no fatiguing. Unfortunately, the middle of main just being a pain in the ass to work with on the Blight side, and now being able to make this filler pallet over towards 3 as well, playing this really nicely. Ato now pre-dropping. Now, where does he go from here? Not really a whole lot, to be honest. He has to make the inside of main, or he's just going to do a little bit jiggy around the tires and around the boxes and stuff like that, and he's going to be able to make all the way back down to 5. Jumps really struggling to get this down onto Ato. He needs it, and he needs it quick. He knows those generators in the background are going to be worked, and that he's just chasing around this 4 side, and he will be going down now. We do see there is half a generator over at main being progressed, and the score as it stands at the moment is 5 hooks, and I do believe that is 3 fresh. Now he only needs 3 more hooks to win the game, basically, so definitely doable at 2 gens remaining. Just moving on from that, we are going to be patrolling the main building a little bit more now, just trying to look for the stealth out onto this generator, but I do believe they have rotated around the map. We do see Posey in the background just cranking out that 6 generator. Jumps knows it. Jumps knows they're just going to let the bro cook because he is on first hook. They don't really have any need to pull him early. What they need at the moment is gen pressure, and it's really smart by Jumps to pick that up. A good thing to note as well is that hill over in the main, the middle of the map is just absolutely in the favor of Jumps at the moment, being able to have that vantage point onto the hook and any stealth outs. He knows Posey is around and he's almost there. He's sniffing him out. He knows he's just anywhere between this edge map, but no, he's walked straight past him. That is mighty unfortunate for Jumps. And now he's just going to be doing a little bit of a fake out to see if he can really bait them out to getting the unhook. And we've managed to... Oh, Ato's the deli. There's no way. That's absolutely crazy. Now he's going to be chasing all the way down to the 2 side. He's going to have to last a little bit longer for these last 2 generators to proc. And if he dies, this is a draw. Oh, wait, no. It's a draw if he dies. So, all things considered, Jumps has to get this thing. He has to get this survivor down. He has to down Ato, and then he has to go find another survivor and hook them as well. And with everything happening on in the background, I just don't really see a world where that is absolutely possible if we can't manage to get him down, Tavi.
Jumps kind of struggling on the bump logic, perhaps a little bit indecisive, and now this is kind of the crucial moments of the game because now Jumps, again, kind of like every dash, every rush that's missed, kind of like adds up, and in the mental, and kind of makes your next one, a little bit more uncertain. But he doesn't actually give enough time for this final generator to pop, and that's kind of exactly what we were just discussing about. There's just beautiful time waste going on from Ayato, and Jumps now has to play for a potential tie condition if this death does happen on the hook, and he's looking a little bit towards the gates. So again, maybe a little bit indecisive, maybe waiting for the comms from the teammates, get a bit of reassurance on their end. What should I do here? Maybe what should I go for the guaranteed tie? Should I just try and commit a gate and try and find a survivor? But I mean, he doesn't know where any of them are. So like again, previously that Bill Posey, the really strong Bill Overbeck with that green outfit, managed to stealth all the way away from that 5 gen. And Jumps, I think, would not be happy to let that happen again on this 6 gate. So he's actually rushing towards Jack, though, trying to secure something here. And Bill is in a bit of trouble.
No, yeah, definitely. He spotted out the Bill, and this is absolutely bad news bears for our survivors. Ato going to be going into the abyss in the background if we're not able to get him off the hook. The Cracker coming in from Posey, nowhere to run, and he is the fresh hook. If we down Posey and he is hooked, that means that it's a 7... Look, it should be a 7 hook for fresh. That is win con, unfortunately, for the Survivor team. They will not be taking the win this set. It will be the side of Synergy. Very well played out, my lord. That went down to the absolute wire. Now, we're just going to be staring into Bro's soul as we just end this game. I do say Slug. If we can get eyes on Slug. What's Slug doing at the moment? We don't really need to see Jumps. Just staring into our survivor now. Oh, never mind. We're just going to be taking that out. Yes, not going to be playing for that because we already know that the win con was achieved from the side of the killer. Nevertheless, a very good game. 10 stages for Fresh. A very good performance put up by Jumps. You do expect outs on the Blight if you are utilizing this balancing, all things considered.
Hunter,
Do
you
you
know
have
what's
anything?
funny?
Wait, what's funny?
You know what's funny? You remember that tenacity?
And welcome back, everyone, to the tiebreaker, which will be Billy on Blood Lodge. Again, will be Synergy on the Killer, which will be seeing Jarms once more. We know and love his Billy, definitely, from last season and this season. If you haven't been caught up to date, on the Survivor side, we do have Sadness, Ato, Posey, Les, and Slug. So, and what do I expect from this? In all honesty, I expect a 4K from Jumps. He is really good on the Billy from what I have versed in, from what I have seen. So, Tavi, do you have any info on what you have seen Jumps do in the previous matches he has played Billy, or are you just observing right now as you were in the Blight set?
In the Unknown set, yes, I was observing. The Blight set, I was also observing, but this one, I do have a little bit of definitive information for you all out there, OSL, wherever you are as well, outside of Oceania. Uh, well, a bit of information for you all. In a previous season, I believe it was season 2, we did see Jams play against Smokey's team of Demonic, and he actually got a 4K0, which seems really, really solid when you consider this map. But then, I will tell you something. Smokey got a 4K1, so Jams actually ended up losing that set on the side of his team. So maybe he's a bit back for revenge here on the Blood Lodge as he does find Les really, really quickly. I think this might be a down, but the blue sword does end just in time, just for our survivor to make their powered. So they're a bit safer now around this fun boss, but they really might not have that much jump steps through the bamboozle, and just tries to apply a bit more pressure, but there's another fill around here, so it's actually pretty good RNG, and Jumps might struggle a little bit, and yeah, we can see he goes a little bit too wide, bumps into the tree, and this is potentially not the start, which is completely optimal. But yeah, I mean, look, Survivor's still zone here, can still make something happen. This is an unsafe window, he has to play 50s, but he just sends it to the pallet. Oh my gosh, this is looking a little bit rough for Jumps at the start.
Yeah, definitely. And our old mate Les knowing that you definitely can't really... Oh, wait, no, I was going to say you definitely can't be greeting all of these pellets just pre-throwing them in the blue sword, but greeting that dumpster is absolutely wild of that man, and he is able to make that scot-free all the way back down into 1, and that's made a very long chase for the first chase of the game. Now Jarms is just going to have to go on a little bit of gen patrol and see if he can catch anyone out of position. Now having a lot of resources gone from the top side is a little bit of a plus side to Jarms, all things considered. If you can get down in a nice curve around that rock, is going to spell the down onto Posey. Well done, Jarms. That is absolutely crazy. You'd love to see it. So now we do have some gen progress in the background over at 10. It was the dumpster. That was 9. Okay, yeah, it was 9. Sorry, my mistake. I am getting a little bit mixed up with Wrecker's Yard callouts, but nevertheless going to be opting to go for more of the gen patrol now that we have our hook nice and central in towards the map, and a very early pull from our survivors. I dare say that was our Delhi being just in the game as soon as possible. We definitely want it in our repertoire on the side of the survivors, especially when you're versing a kill like Jumps. So now we're just going to be looping around this shack tile. Now, is Posey going to be able to last a little bit longer than what he once was before just moments ago? And no, unfortunately, getting mind gamed at that dumpster filler and being blocked in the process. Jarms giving him a little bit of the nods and saying, hello, yes, I'm here to play. Picking up Posey, and now this is going to be the second stage. So a downfall to definitely pulling early is that once you pull early, you can have a quick 2-tap chase like we had just seen there. Well, not necessarily a 2-tap, but a very quick chase nonetheless. And you're in a world full of trouble now because you don't have a lot of time to be pressing these generators, all three of you. So again, where does Jarms go from here? We see Ato stealthing around for the pull. We do see a little bit of progress from Slug over at the top side of the map, and now the chase being onto Les all the way at the top side once more as well. We do see the kick on this hill gen around the 2 side of the map and straight back to the middle, and I dare say we're going to go for that tunnel out as soon as possible, Tavi.
Yeah, absolutely. The game plan of the Hillbilly pretty much every single time without repeat. I've seen this over and over again. But the Hillbilly just wants to try and force a 3v1 as quickly as possible, then try and make some of the flashy plays. But we see the crouch and the body block from Drums, and this might just be the down coming in. Posey has to play the locker here, has to try and play the 50s off sound, and he wins it, and he makes a window, but then he fakes it, goes back to the locker, but it gets pulled out of it. It's unfortunate, but it's bought enough time for, I believe that was 2 generators to be done in the background. Although the eruption comes through onto main building, that's plenty of time, I think, for survivors to still make a good amount of play there. So that is, I think, a pretty good recovery from those early unhooks, Hunter, because again, you were saying like you unhook early, that means that your survivors have technically they can have less time doing the generators, of course, because if you get down before, like for example, like you get if you get down like 30 seconds in and you just get like immediately unhooked, then that's 40 seconds that you could have been on hook that as far as being on gens. But I mean, whatever the case is, there 3 gens done now in this trial, and Ayato's gonna get chased next. I mean, it's pretty clear that they are some kind of aggressive or deliverance build coming in. So Drums might not really be on his menu to chase this down and to hook the survivor, but might actually just end up doing so with just a couple of just to immobilize survivor. Maybe they don't walk away, but he misses that stall there on this edge map of 11, and I feel like this again not really the side of the map you want to be chasing. But oh my gosh, there's a beautiful little bit of C curve coming in from Johns. Maybe I just called a curve, not a C curve, but yeah, that secures it down, and that's really needed in this situation because now he might be able to have enough time to rotate to this 1 gen to apply the pop goes the weasel, but he's hooking in the mid side. He wants to secure this bot side 3 gen instead of trying to protect 11. So that's actually good awareness of Joms if he did intentionally decide to ditch this 1 gen and instead try and pressure slug off that track gen or whatever it is, and that's the 4 gen being done. But I don't think Joms cares. I think he just wants this 3 gen and wants to secure this 4K1, which is 1 gen better than what I would have previously seen from Joms anyway.
Definitely not over until it's over, Tavi. Now, keep in mind the no meta is still in play at the moment, so slugging is out of the question if you are to chase slug at this point in time. So, very interesting to see how he plays this 3 gen at the moment. We did see last season in Season 2 where Jumps had a 3 gen as well against Smokey's team and was able to capitalize on a 4K0 in the end. So, can he manage to do it again against the team of Sadness? We'll have to wait and see. Now opting to go on a little bit of gen patrol and noticing that nobody is really committing. Shaq at the moment trying to check the basement to see if we can see any stealth outs at the moment, but no, we don't manage to find any very good stealthing from Slug to be able to be aware that he definitely can't work that generator over at Shaq. Instead, we're gonna opt to go for the pool, and we're gonna go all the way down to the top side, nice and far away from these generators. Now, we did see Less all the way in the background, over more towards the 5 side of the map, committing that generator. It's just interesting to note. Was he the one unhooking? And he was. Okay, so he's not able to really commit that generator there. Unfortunately, now getting the hook onto. Getting that hook onto onto Ato, and a nice little curve again will spell the end of Slug at that point in time at that pallet, and I dare say this is going to be his first hook. So we're looking at a 5-stage 3 fresh as it currently stands if we are managed to hook Slug into this middle hook. This is a really detrimental hook to have in the game at the moment, Tavi. I mean, it's nice and central in between all his 3 gen, and just he's able to really just apply the pressure. Billy, having one of the fastest movement mechanics in the game, is able to put a lot of pressure on the survivors doing generators when guarding a hook as well simultaneously. Nevertheless, we'll be taking the chase back onto Ato. He'll be going down as just a clean M1 will take place. I don't think anybody's around for the pallet save at that point in time. You'd have to be pretty quick on the mark after that unhook to reach that. But no, we've decided to go for a little bit more of a split once more. We do see Slug over in the background, stealthing behind the cars over at 5, and we're taking chase back onto Les, who will be running around this main building. The balance coming in. He's running all the way down to 3. Jump's going to have none of it. He's going to have to guard his hook here, guard that generator that's nice and close to the hook. So yeah, he has a pretty good setup here, all things considered, Tavi.
Yeah, his setup is fairly neat and fairly tight too. It's like 5, 6 in main, which it could be worse for our survivors. It could be like 6, 6 and 5, but I mean they still have to try and work this. At least they have the balanced landing survivor on the main building, so they've gotten the correct rotation there. And then Slug is of course the one pressuring the far gen, but I don't think it's going to be enough time to to pop a generator before this death does happen, because again, Jarms can just passively pressure off the generator by simply just like looking in their direction. So I think this kill's gonna be secured, that's for sure. But whether another generator pops, that could be a different question altogether, because again, our survivors have had a good amount of time working these gens. We can actually see that Slug's generator is on the 90% mark, and Jarms, I don't know if he's rushing over here, but maybe he's committing main. He's making up his decision. He's making up his mind, but he's heading here too late. No, but Slug hops up the generator. He couldn't get it done in time, and now Jarms goes to the M1. Although it misses, I don't think it matters, because Slug gets down anyway through the ping, and Jarms just goes back, kicks the generator, applies this 5% base aggression, and then yeah, Les can do nothing except watch their generator go back to oblivion, because there's no way in the Autohaven records that Jarms would let this generator go. Surely he would not let this generator go.
No, he definitely can't. And now taking that hook onto Slug, he's just going to go straight back to see if there's anyone just pressing it, which is the last survivor less. And he has pressed it. And is he going to get the 4K0? No, he's going down. And that will be the 4K1 secured. Jarms knows it, giving him a little bit of a nod as well played to Synergy to manage to pull a 4K1. Definitely a very good result if you're speaking in terms of Billy 100%. So, oh, the killer of Sadness has a tall order to meet for the next game, so he's gonna have to pull a 4K2 out of his last Tavi, and we know from Billy games that you know, it can really go either way. In all honesty, I was gonna say it leans more towards in the side of outs, but you know what, anything can happen, and you love to see that game. You love to see how it panned out. Anyways, don't go anywhere. This will go down to the wire once more. We're almost there. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after a quick short break. And welcome back, everyone, to what could potentially be the last game of the group stage of Season 3. Very exciting stuff. We're going to be seeing Posey on the side of Sadness as our killer for the Hillbilly set on the Blood Lodge. And on the Survivor team for Synergy, you have Burrito, Jarms, Hazza, and a sub in for Halo. It is Kaz. So we're going to be seeing definitely some long chases with a Survivor team like this, 100%. So loading upon this, I think it's definitely in their reach to be able to obtain the 4K0, as I have seen them scrim Billy a heap of amount of times, and some good Billies at that, definitely. So as we load into the match, we're going to be seeing our survivors load in on the bottom side, our killer load in on the top side. So very stock standard stuff. We're going to be opting to utilize the chainsaw to go all the way back down to the bottom in the corrupted zone, see if we can find any stealth out. So we're having like a little bit of a 2-2 split is what I gathered from loading upon in the trial. Now, a nice little kill over at this bottom side, this bottom 6. So as if there's any generators around here, do we have a little bit of a 3-gen to work with maybe for the late game, sorry. Regardless, we're going to be taking this chase onto Hazza, who's going to be looping around the shack side, pre-dropping that filler pallet over at 6. Now, dropping the pallet into shack as well is going to allow him to buy enough distance to reach all the way down to the 5 side. Is there a gold window there for him to work with? And I do believe there is. And Posey's going to have none of it. He's going to opt to go for something a little bit more in his favor. And at the moment, we're just struggling to find a first chase here, Tavu.
Yeah, sorry, I got a bit of lag on mine, so I just heard a bit of lag in the voice. But yeah, it's a bit of a start for Posey. He gets stunned here on main, not really the momentum going in Posey's favor, and that's a good amount of distance bought from Kaz, as they do actually go and juke and jiggy a little bit on this 4 lane, which I think is fairly good. But they've actually run themselves to a bit of a dead zone, and again, there's a little bit of lag on my end, but they somehow win the 50s here. Gets the ping kind of like a break on the pallet, luckily going in their favor, and now they make it all the way to Shack. Actually, oh my god, I thought Hazza was the player with Lithe, but apparently Kaz has like infinite distance as well, and Posey's gonna leave this chase as well to try and find again more favorable chases, and they do find Darren, they do find Burrito, but Burrito's in a safe area with the pallet. That's another stun coming in for Posey, and we're kind of looking at a fairly similar like start for I think both teams. But Posey, I think now Burrito might have just zoned himself just a little bit on this edge map, but no, Posey goes in and allows Darren to make this. I keep saying Darren, allows Burrito to make this bot side death spot a little bit better. So a bit of a smash of greed there, but still I think a fairly good start for our survivors. Maybe I do have to give a bit of my regards to Lesto. That chase in the previous shot was insane, and they allowed like a gen to be done, which that this first gen is actually looking like a split. They double split this. Oh my gosh, Posey I think is like guaranteed to lose a gen here no matter what, and that's maybe a bit of problem because there's already a lot of pressure mounting here on the Blood Lodge.
Yeah, definitely. And with Ruin gone so early in the trial as well, this is just absolutely just dire for our killer here, unfortunately. Now, having the unhook onto Burrito was, I do believe, whoever's in chase here. I'm not sure, but we're going to opt to go for the tunnel out, I do say now, following these scratch marks up to the bottom of the map over towards the shack side. We don't have shack pallet to work with, so it only begs the question, what can we do here? We do find Burrito once more. He'll be going down. It's interesting to note he's carrying the medkit, so I do fear this is our Delhi survivor being hooked at the moment. Regardless of that fact, we do have those two generators in the trial that have progressed. As I say that, the second one progressing just then, we do see Jarms over at the top side working that top generator. I do believe that is over towards most of the 10 or 11 side. Now we do have a little bit of a 3 to 4 gen up on this bottom side as well, with the hill just overlooking this hook as well. So yeah, this is, if anything, this is definitely holdable by Posey, especially if he can get a quick down right now to further facilitate that thought. We do see the progress gen, and this is over at the 9 side of the map, so definitely know that there's someone over here working that, and we do know as the audience that it was Jarms, and it only begs the question, where is he at the moment? We're not going to know. We're just going to opt to go back and play a little bit more on the safe side and try to camp Darren out to death. So again, very stalemate-like at the moment. We're just trying to really secure this death onto our survivor here. The gen pressure is adequate, I will say that. It's not anything absolutely crazy to be like, oh my god, they're gonna win the game, but they're definitely holding up pretty well. So this can really go either way, Tavi. With Burrito gone from the trial so early on, what do you anticipate will be the next move for our killer, and what will be the next move for our survivor side?
Yeah, I feel like now with this kill coming through, I feel like our survivors need to play a lot more slowly. Of course, we do have Hazza soloing the gen with Resilience in the background. Actually, I don't remember, maybe that's Resi and Deja, but I don't believe so. I think it's DS Life coming into play. So Hazza's going to get found, and I guess our other survivors do have to try and rotate in to force this gen to go through, but Hazard's actually got a good amount of RNG here. He's got a lot of pallets, and he can make this chase last for quite a while. He gets a pre-drop safely over here, and Posey does not want any of that. Wants to go back for the eruption kick to try and get this generator aggressing, but there's already a survivor here. They've left the scratch marks, and Synergy really want to speed up this trial as quickly as possible to try and take away these final 2 generators, which is to secure them the win. But John's gonna get caught out. Really, really fortunate there that Posey got stuck there on the 4 lane, and that's unfortunate for Posey because that would have been, I think, a down or very, very close to it, as Jams does kind of take the distance away. There's a bit of lag on my end again, but I guess Jams really is dying in not the best death spot. So I'm surprised to see Posey kind of like, committing over here. Actually, no, he did just make it away, and then he somehow has infinite distance. So yeah, a bit of lag on my end, but I'm really shocked that John's managed to get out of that situation. That's just more time being wasted for our survivor side to get more pressure done. And what Posey needs right now is a down, and our survivors are definitely going to be playing way, way more aggro on the gens now that they've shown themselves and shown which gens they're stealthing around. And unfortunately, we won't be seeing stealth play come through for these generators. But Posey heading back now as 5 pops, and this could be enough time for the survivors to pop, or at least get another rotation into this generator. Cats get found here, so they do have the pallets still to work with. Oh my gosh, and yeah, Posey is really, really struggling to get it down here, Hunter.
Yeah, definitely. And with that other generator proccing in this trial, now we are at the Tycon. Jarms, like you said, over at 3. I don't think Ben was planning to go down, Tavi. He was planning on doing a little bit of jiggy. So let's hope he can continue the pace of that. Nevertheless, we'll be taking the kick onto our generator more towards the mid side of the map. Now, this is a very, very, very tight 3-gen. In all honesty, at a 3v1 with gens like this at the moment, I would beg to say that, yeah, the survivors aren't really going to be able to get out of this. It is looking more towards a favorable 4K1, as I don't think Posey will really overcommit anything. He'll go on the gen patrol accordingly and then just get his hooks in, and it'll spell the end of the game for the survivors. But you never know. You know what? You never know until it's over. I'll be very surprised if they pull it back from this. And as much as I do want them to pull back from this, I just can't see a realistic world where that is the case. But regardless, we do see the scratch marks over at this Shack side, and now we do have Eruption procced on all 3 generators at the moment within our 3-gen. And like I said, with it being this tight, he's able to do that very effectively and very quickly. The survivors have to play out of their mind, and they cannot make a single mistake. They need to be surviving. They cannot go down. They cannot afford to go down. So you still have this pallet over at this 4 side now. What can Posey pull out of it? Can he get the down? No. Jarms is very confident amongst this filler here. It is a blue saw, and he knows not to greet it. So Posey, knowing it, he's just going to opt to leave that chase. He knows there's going to be more favorable chases to go for, especially when there's survivors in the background working those generators. He does spot somebody off of this hill generator. Now rotating over towards this 9 side is Kaz, who's going to be utilizing this shit truck here, going through the little bit of trash loops that are in the way and trying to break line of sight, break the path for the chainsaw, and unfortunately going down. It's going to allow Eruption to proc on all these generators, which means 10% progress from every single generator is gone, unfortunately, for our Survivor team. It's just really facilitating the fact that this is just such a dire situation to get out of, Tavi.
It's really tough now, Kaz going down, even though it was kind of away from the gen force and the gen setup that they did have a lot of jobs.
Nah!
Oh no,
What
that
the
is
hell?
criminal. But he knows that Posey won't be able to get the saw off there, so does go for that. But he could have gotten an M1, so I'm still surprised he went for that. But anyway, the rotation back to the bot side does occur, and I think I do believe that there really aren't that many
They
good
got it
absorption
done!
perks left in the draw.
No!
But
They won!
that is the final generator being completed, and Synergy take this series away 2-1 over Sadness, over a really, really insane set of sets. Okay, yes, I said it twice, but an insane set of sets. You heard that right. We had the first set of Unknown, which went towards Sadness again. Very surprising there. 10 stage versus 4K1. I think honestly that game was fairly, fairly close. But then we also had that insane Blight game with the Tenacity go to a win thanks to the Tenacity from Burrito. And then now, oh my gosh, now we have how many stages? 7 stages against the Billy. That is insane result coming through on the Blood Lodge. But regardless, that is going to be Synergy taking the 2-1 over Sadness. So really, really well played to Synergy in the end of the day.
No, yeah, definitely. And you just didn't expect that. That is absolutely crazy work from our Survivor team. And yeah, if you're on the side of Synergy, you love to see it. It is absolutely great. But nevertheless, that will be the final game done of the group stage. Now, what does that mean? It means we're going into top 8 next week. So stay tuned for the ladder that comes out. With that, you will be notified on who is versing who as the pick and bans do come out. There will be an announcement disclosing what the format will be looking like in the announcement section. Make sure you're all in the Discord, ears open, eyes open, to make sure to be able to see when that is happening. Stay tuned with our Discord, with our Twitch, with our YouTube, and with our TikTok. Lots of uploads coming there. We do have an Instagram, but it's not currently being used at the moment. So make sure you're up to date with all of those socials. Yeah, this has been a really good tournament so far. Tavi, do you have anything to say before we sign off for the night?
Hunter, these have been great games to cast over these 5 weeks of the group stages. We've seen teams actually kind of step up, kind of make a name for themselves. Whereas previously maybe we've seen again tipping indicate otherwise that the other team might win. Like we saw Clown Crew get some insane performances. We saw Blia as well face off against Clown Crew, funnily enough, just tonight. And off the top of my head, I will not say. I can't really recall, but like again, like the new teams as well, Lira, and also Renewal, 2 teams who from the East Asia region. One of them's going through, so it's kind of insane as well to see just every new face here in comp. But yeah, it's really, really great games, and it's been a pleasure to cast them and to watch them. There's been again some insane moments. You can go check them out on YouTube. There's shorts as well. We do have a team who frequently upload that content for you, and also Twitch clips. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna go over that voice crack there, Hunter. That
Oh
is
no,
something that I will definitely go
no, no,
over.
no,
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 please,
no,
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 no.
no,
You
no.
brought it up
I will go
again. You
over
brought
that.
it
No,
up
no, no.
again. But just before we go, I do have the standings as they are. So we have Gospel versus Leopard, Void versus Cardo Kid, Zetsubo versus Sanity, and Resurrection versus Renewal. So they are your games. We'll get those sorted for you during the week. We are not talking about the voice crack anymore. I'm signing us off. See you later, everyone. Have a good night. We love you all, and peace out.